The future for an airline that more people choose to fly than any other from Southeast Asia. Flying to 6 continents with the largest fleet of aircraft. And now, the first global airline from Southeast Asia. Imagine. Fly Malaysia Airlines.
One voice speaks the language of Asian business today. Asia's first dedicated television news service. Asia Business News. With one glance, you'll know what's happening, backed by expert analysis and commentary. An essential information tool for Asia's decision makers working in this dynamic region. One voice answers your needs. Asia Business News.
Welcome back to Asia Business News. Now for a closer look at what's happening in the region's markets, we turn first to NHK's Dalton Tananaka in Tokyo, who has a look back at the business day that was in Japan. Now that Washington has renewed China's most favored nation trading status, analysts say the Hong Kong market is turning its attention to property. The government will announce its property policy next month. An overly harsh package would hurt developers and cut into the government's land sale income. Our next guest likes property investment companies and is bullish on Hong Kong in the short to medium term. He's Philip Chan, Research Director at PBI Securities in Hong Kong. Thanks for joining us. What would be considered an overly harsh property package next month?
I think there are two major measures which the government could introduce, which would affect the property market. The major one, of course, is capital gains tax on property transactions. That would be the most harsh and also the most difficult to administer. The second one would be that they could say, encourage banks to allow mortgage lending on older properties. I mean, properties older than, say, 15 up to 30 years or even older. And hence that would bring in sort of more flats into the mortgage market, which could be tradable, because this is what happens. I mean, most first-time buyers tend to go for the new flats, and banks are only willing to lend for new flats because they're at the moment the most tradable.
Is the market indeed expecting a harsh package?
I don't think so now, because it seems that the developers were quite keen to signal to the government at last Thursday's land auction that they don't wish for a harsh package to be introduced, and that the correction that we've seen in the property market already maybe preempts what the government wants to do anyway.
Now, you like the property investment companies which invest in rental properties. Why?
Yeah. Because they are not affected so much by the ups and downs of the capital values of the property market. And some of them are going to see quite significant increases in their earnings over the next two to 3 years, because although we expect capital values to grow, we expect rental levels to grow even faster over the next couple of years, because the rental levels are only catching up to, say, what they were prevailing in 1989, sorry, and then they've got to go even higher, because we've had 4 years of inflation since then.
Quickly, are you staying away from property developers?
On a selective basis, we would like a couple, for instance, like Chung Kong and Sunong Kai Properties. The first one because of special circumstances, and the second because they have a very cheap land bank, low cost, and hence the correction that we're seeing in the property market is not going to affect it to any great degree.
We'll have to leave it there. Philip Chan, thank you for joining us. He's Philip Chan, Research Director at PBI Securities in Hong Kong. Japan's